This is the Coach Maz Show, presented by Griffins baseball alum State Farm agent Alex Hetrick in Murraysville. Like a good neighbor, State Farm agent Alex Hetrick is there. Here's Dan Flickinger and the head coach of the Seton Hill Griffins, Marc Marizzaldi.
Welcome, everybody, to Griffins on Deck. It is now time for the Coach Maz Show as the Griffins get set to open a 4-game series with Slippery Rock to finish off the regular season. As always, the Coach Maz Show is presented by our good friend and former Griffin, State Farm agent Alex Hetrick in Murraysville. Like a good neighbor, State Farm agent Alex Hetrick is there. The Griffins come in 32-12 overall, 18-6 in the PSAC West, currently a half game above Cal for first place in the West. And the Griffins are coming off of a 4-game sweep of the Clarion Golden Eagles. And Maz, the biggest question right now, before we actually get into the interview itself, is everybody safe after the storm that barreled through a couple of days ago? And you have power. Is it? I guess you do. I see there is a light above your head.
Yeah. I couldn't do this interview about 4 hours ago, Dan. I went 24 hours without power here, and our daughters were going crazy because they couldn't Snapchat for a whole day. But fortunately, not really a whole lot of damage up on Seton Hill's campus. We lost a little bit of capping on our fence the other day, but other than that, we're all in one piece and we're ready to roll.
Ready to roll. Well, obviously, you finish off the regular season, Maz, a big series against Slippery Rock. Before we talk about the Rock, you guys again coming off of that 4-game sweep of Clarion. Just start out with your overall evaluation, I guess, of that series.
We came alive in a lot of ways. 51-2, I think, was the combined score. And Clarion kind of came into that series. They were still in the mix for a playoff spot, fighting for that 4 seed. Our guys are super motivated, and I'm really proud of the weekend that we put together, not just because of the wins, but we were coming off of probably our 2 most frustrating losses of the season. 2 really big regional games against Point Park and Frostburg that we squandered. And now that just makes every game after that even more important from a regional standpoint. And so we put together a fantastic response on the weekend to what was a little bit of a frustrating week for us. Our pitching, which has been so dominant all year long, I wouldn't say it was dominant against Clarion. We gave up some more free passes. But man, we only yielded 2 runs. I think it was the pitching and the defense complementing one another. And then, some guys really broke out in a big way. Mark Black and Jay Canes both had huge weekends. I'm probably leaving a bunch of people out because it seemed like everybody hit. So it was good. We're feeling good, but I think our players are aware and mature enough to understand this has happened before. We put up almost an exact same weekend against IUP. And our guys realized that doesn't carry over. I think we went on to maybe lock it in the next week and didn't play well. So we're aware that last week was last week and this week is this week. And Slippery Rock is a completely different opponent that we just got to meet the demands of the game like we did last week.
Yeah, what specifically did you see, Maz, that allowed you guys to score 51 runs that maybe, you hadn't seen for a few weeks there?
Dan, I don't know if it's good or bad. But the old adage that hitting is contagious seems to be just very present with our team, both good and bad. I think we went over 14 with runners in scoring position against Point Park last week. It was contagious in a bad way, and then it was contagious in a crazy good way. I think we had 7 or 8 big innings where we scored 3 runs or more during the series at Clarion. That's more big innings than we had in the last 3 weeks. We had it in 2 days. So that's just the team that we are. I guess it's contagious in both a good and bad way.
In that first doubleheader of the series, we saw Jack Whalen steal his 100th career base. What kind of makes him an elite base stealer, Maz?
You know what, Dan? I wish I could sit here and say, it's because we worked on all these things the last 3 years.
Now, he said that. He did say that when we talked with him after the game, what you guys do in practice, but go ahead.
that dude was swiping second base on a green light in his first college game ever. Like
Right out of the womb.
he just has it in his blood, man. Now I think what we've done is taken that fearlessness that he has and his athleticism and speed, and we added to that with like an ways to read pitchers. He's so good at tendencies and anticipating what the pitcher's going to do. So now I wish I could explain that it's a bunch of credit to our program or our coaches, but honestly, a whole lot of that is Jack just being a tremendous athlete.
Well, like I said, after the doubleheader sweep, the first set of games there at your place, that's one of the things he did mention is the work that you guys put in, at practice as well. A couple of guys you mentioned, Marc Black and Jay Canes. I want to ask you about Marc first because his bat's really heating up. He's hitting .423 over his last 9 games. What have you seen from his approach offensively, and how important is it for him to get hot right now, Maz, with some of the injuries that you have?
Man, Marc has just worked and worked and worked at everything, catching and take care of his body and certainly offensively. He had not had the season that I think he was hoping for or that he was capable of up until this point. And you got to remember, he's a 5th-year guy. He's played college baseball at Gardner-Webb and one of the best junior colleges in the country in Wake Forest. And the thing about Marc is he wants to be coached so bad, and he listens to everything we tell him. But I think his success, at least in the past few weeks, he's certainly trending way up, is that he trusts some small swing changes that both him and the coaches have kind of been working on. He's just a tough dude, too, and he wants to win so bad. That's why he's having success. Most guys, I think, in his situation, 5th-year guy coming down towards the tail end of their career, they're afraid to change anything. And here Marc is, he may only have, 5 games left in his whole career, and he's willing to still continue to make adjustments and try to, make himself the best player that he can be. It's pretty fun to watch and certainly pretty fun to coach him.
And it really says something about him. He had so much success in high school. He's been to, numerous colleges. And for him to be willing to change and willing to be coached, I think that says a lot, about his character as well. And Jay Canes, man, he's had an interesting season, hasn't he? Really good first half. And then he hit a really tough stretch where, he had 4 hits and 34 bats, but then against Clarion, at Clarion, 4 hits, 2 home runs, 10 RBIs in that doubleheader. So how does he ultimately get to that consistency instead of kind of being so up and down? Because obviously we see the potential with him.
Yeah, similar to Marc Black, like Jake he's been coachable all year. He's been trying to find that one small tweak that'll kind of help him get on time consistently and find a good contact point. I wish I could tell you why he had a little bit of a skid, and I wish I could tell you why he hit the snot out of the ball this weekend. Maybe he's, the one guy that's when he's hot, it's contagious for him personally as it is for our team. But man, that the thing about Jake is he's so strong that even when he doesn't get it, it goes a long way. He'll hit home runs and everybody on our team's like, oh, that was pretty good, but he didn't even get that one. So I don't know. That again, similar to Marc Black, super coachable. Always like most of the other guys on our team, like every single day, they're just working to try to find that 1% that can make a difference in, a hit or a well-thrown ball.
We talked with John McCullough after his performance. He has not allowed a run in 2 straight starts, 11 scoreless innings. And I know I've asked you about John earlier this year, but right now, what's he doing to be so effective, Maz?
He's boring. John is so good when he's boring. Like, just go out there and strike out a couple guys and don't walk anybody and get some ground balls. And then you look up, you're like, oh my God, John just threw 7 scoreless innings. You know what I mean? And I don't know how to describe it other than boring. And you interview him and he says all the cliche things, right? After his interview.
That's how Johnny's
Um,
been. Yeah.
that's how he is. There's a ton of value in this game when you can come out and be consistent, even if it's consistently boring. And we joke about that with our pitchers every day, like who can be the most boring pitcher. And John, man, he's another guy that's evolved a little bit, even as a fifth year guy who's already had a ton of success. He's kind of tinkered with his repertoire a little bit.
He mentioned he developed a new pitch too that he's been using a little bit. So yeah.
Yeah. Last year he really started to throw his cutter more. This year he's added in a curveball. His changeup usage has probably been higher this year than ever before. So he's just continuing to evolve, finding those little things that can make a big difference, and not surprising that he's stringing together a bunch of scoreless innings for us.
So the real NCAA Atlantic regional rankings came out. And when I say real, for folks that maybe follow social media, they see NCBWA. Those aren't the actual rankings. The NCAA released the rankings. I think this is the second week in a row that they've released the official rankings. Seton Hill number 7 right now in the region. The top 6 this year make it in to the regional. Cal, Shippensburg, and Frostburg are ahead of Seton Hill, plus the other teams in the East that are having really good years. So, Maz, I know that you got to focus on winning, but you used to be on the committee. What do you kind of make of what the rankings say right now?
I think it's obvious when you look at those rankings, strength of schedule is being taken into consideration, quite highly at this point. And where Shippensburg is, they've already played, the top 3 teams in the region 4 times each. That's 12 games against those top teams. They've played Frostburg State and us. So, and they play a really strong non-conference schedule early with Catawba and some others. So, I mean, the numbers are what they are. They're published out there for everyone to see. But the thing is, they change. They can change drastically in 1 week, whether you win or lose. Since strength of schedule is such a factor, we'll play Slippery Rock 4 times today, who's 30-15. That's probably the one thing we're suffering from at Seton Hill is our strength of schedule this year, especially non-league, is a little bit lower. That'll probably jump significantly this week, and then all of a sudden the numbers change from week to week. So right now, it's certainly nothing that we're concerning ourselves with. We've got many things that we need to take care of, Slippery Rock, and then the conference tournament. And that's kind of our goal. It's not something we're focused on right now, but if you go win 4 straight games in the PSAC tournament, those rankings don't mean anything, and that's what we're chasing.
Big series with the Rock. They've had a really good year. When you look at them, Maz, what impresses you about them?
Their pitching staff, man, it's got to be one of the best, if not the best pitching staff I've seen from Slippery Rock in probably the last 10 to 15 years. And they've put together, I think mostly through transfers, they put together a pretty good lineup that's, probably more athletic than it's been in years past. And it's not just their starting pitching. They've had probably 3 or 4 really solid, consistent guys out of the bullpen. So, all around, it's probably one of the deepest and most well-rounded Slippery Rock teams we've played in quite a while.
And we'll wrap things up, Maz, with this is a big day on the Hill, Day of Giving. And there's been a lot of announcements, a lot of talk about the new facility that's going to be built hopefully soon at Seton Hill. So kind of tell us about, Day of Giving, why it's important, and how people can help out.
Yeah, we've been very fortunate, Dan. Day of Giving's been going on for, in athletics for probably 7, 8, 9 years. And we have such a strong alumni following, as you know. Most of them tune into your show every week and to watch the Griffs. And those guys have been so supportive to kind of make contributions to help us do a lot of different things with the program and to enhance the ballpark. And now our shift is a little bit towards the future and something that's, quite honestly, the biggest and maybe the best thing that's ever happened on our campus, an athletic facility that's going to support all of our teams through practice space and locker rooms and offices. It's game changing, right? And And it's an opportunity for our alumni in the baseball program, as well as all the other sports, to really step up and leave a tangible mark on their legacy by supporting this new facility. We're trying to get as many alum as we can to give at any level. Thank you to Westmoreland Sports and Dan Flickinger for being a contributor in the new facility.
I got a locker.
You got a locker, man. There'll be the nameplate, Flick's Locker, right there. But we're hoping for a lot more alumni to step up and sponsor lockers. So it is a big day. We hope and encourage all of our alumni, all of our athletic alumni and Seton Hill alumni to support this endeavor. It's going to be a game changer.
Maz, thank you so much for your time. Good luck. Go get 2 today against Slippery Rock.
Thank you, Dan. Appreciate you being here.